Something you forgot to do. It sure is hot. Are you sweating like a dog? Wait, what? Dogs don't sweat. Oh no, you forgot to get your window tinted. Whether it's the kitchen window that sits in the sun for the hottest part of the day, or you just got new wheels, call Sharp Window Tinting in Burleson. 817-615-9379 or look them up on the web, sharpwindowtint.com.
Accelerated Graphics and Signs, 101 East Renfro, Sweet C in Burleson, Texas. T-shirts and caps for your group. All you need to figure out is if you want them screen printed or embroidered. How about some slick graphics on that hot ride to make you stand out from the crowd? Accelerated Graphics and Signs can handle anything you throw at them. Located at 101 East Renfro Street, Sweet C in Burleson, Texas. Go in and see them. Call them at 817-991-0523 or reach them on the web at www.acceleratedgraphics.net. They are loud and proud and want to serve you. Accelerated Graphics.
Fast Track Student Loans can get your student loans out of default, stop any wage garnishments, stop collection calls, and stop seizure of your tax refund. Give yourself a break. Stop the stress and get your student loan payments down to as little as $25 a month based on what you can afford to pay. 800-709-4395, 800-709-4395, 800-709-4395, 800-709-4395.
You're listening to Joco Community Radio.
Well, good evening, everybody, and welcome to the Reach Across Johnson County segment on Joco Community Radio. I'm having to get back into the swing of things again. I forgot to push the buttons for everybody. Well, I've been a little tongue-tied this evening. Let's hope it gets a little bit better as we go along. I'm Sherry Phillips. I'm the community liaison for Reach Council, and I'm going to let each of my co-hosts here introduce themselves, and then we're going to introduce a special guest with us this evening,
because we've got just about the whole team here today, which is really exciting. Special guest would be our new person,
right? But
really no outside guest tonight, just kind of a chat amongst ourselves.
Absolutely.
So get ready.
Okay, would Jen?
Yeah, sure. I'll go for it. I'm Jennifer. I get to work with this lovely group of people here in Joco.
Hey everybody, this is Emily Steffelbein. I am the mental health project coordinator with Reach Across Johnson County.
My name is Ashley Vasquez, and I am also the mental health project coordinator with Reach Across Joco.
And so what we're going to do now is we're going to introduce a new person to our team. Erica, I'm going to give you an opportunity to kind of talk about yourself just a little bit. And of course, I hear I'm putting her on the spot, but Erica is a new member to the Reach Across Johnson County coalition team and a new staff member at Reach Council. And we're very excited to have her come on board with us. She has accepted the position of the coalition coordinator. So she'll be working really closely with Nikki, who is our other co-host that doesn't happen to be here. She's luckily on vacation still this week. So she'll be joining us, I think, next week. But Erica, welcome to our segment on Joco Community Radio.
Welcome. Thank you, Sherry, for that lovely introduction.
Yeah, get your mic up close so everybody can hear you.
Everyone wants to hear your lovely voice.
Yeah.
So I do come from healthcare. I have 2 children. We're local.
Yeah, pull your mic up a little closer. We got to get you into it's got to be really close.
All up there. Okay.
Okay. Yeah.
All right.
Go ahead.
So 2 children. We do live in the area, and I would like to continue to serve the community. That is something that's very important to me, as you know, my kids are in the schools in this area. I grew up in the area. I also know Nikki very well. I think we've known each other since we were children.
Y'all went to school in Alvarado together, yeah?
Yes. Hey, I wasn't going to tell people that.
Sorry about that. Okay. Well,
I think it's already public knowledge because Nikki talks about it at times.
Oh, really? Yeah. Okay. So we did grow up together, but I'm really excited and looking forward to this position. Coming from healthcare, it means a lot to be on this side of things and to try to. I would really like the opportunity to help people, maybe perhaps upstream instead of after the fact. So prevention would be key.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to go ahead and, like I said, I kind of got out of the little habit. I forgot to read our little spiel here at the very beginning. So let me do that really quick.
Yeah. Who are we, Sherry?
Yeah. Who are we? So we're Reach Across Johnson County, and you can join us live here on Facebook, or download the TuneIn Radio app. It's free. Where we're live 365 on Joco Community Radio, the voice of Johnson County, Texas. Just to share a little bit about Reach's mission, we are here to support safe and healthy choices vital to the well-being of our youth, families, and community. This show will guide you, educate you, and inspire you to be a part of the solution and to reach out and help make a difference in our communities. What began as a local movement in the city of Midlothian grew to include programs throughout Ellis County with only a few short years, and eventually expanded into neighboring Johnson County, Texas. And that's where our Reach Across Johnson County Coalition comes in, to where we are working within our community to make positive change and help to teach how to make healthy choices and things like that. So again, welcome everybody. So y'all don't leave me on the spot. Everybody feel free to jump in. So we thought we'd kind of just give a slight update on some of the things that we've been doing and some of the things that we're looking forward to doing.
Just some issues we're seeing in the community right now.
Absolutely. Yeah. And so one of the fun things that we actually have done during our break was we participated in a lot of different trainings. And I know that Emily and Eric and I and Nikki, we went to CADCA mid-year trainings in Kissimmee, Florida, and it was a lovely place to go. We stayed at the Gaylord there, and we had some really amazing trainings. I thoroughly enjoyed myself, and it kind of gives us a fired up feeling to come back and work within our communities and try to implement some of the things that we've learned that are working well in various communities across the country, because those that came to this training were all over the United States, and actually there were some international guests that have coalitions that came in for this training too. So Emily, do you remember where they were from? I want to say there was somebody from Guam that was there, and then there was somebody that spoke it was a different language. I'm not sure exactly what it was. It was like an Italian or French or something that I don't speak, so I didn't know, but it sounded really pretty when you heard them talk.
That's cool, because we usually just think of it being kind of a national movement. So that's really great when they
when it includes other places and things, and to see what they're trying to implement into their communities that they work in.
Mm-hmm. What was some of the trainings that stood out for those of you who went?
I enjoyed the mental health trainings. There was quite a big focus on that, and of course the opioid crisis and what can be done within our communities. Those are, I think, the ones that stood out to me. I had some really fun classes that had the focus on your individual mental health, on what you could do, and then be able to make change in your communities and stuff, and that was a lot of fun.
What were some of the suggestions for coalitions? Because I know we've gotten more into mental health this last year because we had the funding to be able to do that. What were but after what are some of the things coalitions are doing to really bring that to their community?
Well, I know there was a lot of stuff that was talking about, because there for a while everything was done through Zoom, and so it was one of those spells where you kind of lost some of your members. I mean, things kind of fell off. So a lot that they were talking about is how to re-engage your community sectors, to make change and to go back and they talk about reevaluating, some of your projects that you're working on to make sure that they're still relevant. And us coming back, I mean, we do know that, vaping is still an issue within our community. So I know that we're going to have a big focus on that. And of course, the opioid crisis is still really huge. And even some of our local meetings that we've had recently, I mean, it's still such a big focus, because, again, one pill can kill. And so we need to bring awareness that, you need to be really cautious if you don't get your medication actually from a pharmacy. If you buy something online or get it from a friend or something, you can't always expect it to be, what they say it is, that there could be something else that's been mixed in with it, or it could be laced with something. And so just bringing that awareness.
Yeah. Who's coming on? Is it later this month or is it early in September that is really going to kind of focus on that and how we can kind of switch the way we think about?
Yes. In fact, that was actually one of Emily's trainers that she went to. So I'm going to let Emily kind of touch on that because she was really excited about him.
Yeah. So I'm not going to lie. I didn't know a lot about opioids when I first came in because the focus was mental health. And then going to the conference, and his name is Dr. Keith Humphreys. He's from Stanford University, and they're doing a whole research on opioid crisis in North America, or basically the U.S. and Canada.
Okay.
And it was just really cool because it was just, I'm the nerdy type, so it's just a ton of research of stuff that they went all out because the funders for the research didn't want them to hold back.
That's really good.
He didn't say why, but I'm assuming it's something personal. But he didn't want them to hold back, so he went into government. He went into nonprofits. He went into family. He went into so many different avenues. So listen next week.
Absolutely.
Is it next week?
Yeah, next week
He's coming next week, and he was amazing.
Yeah, we'll try to
there
promote
was
the
just
show
so
too.
much. That is one thing that he did touch on that more so than everything else was the family aspect. And he showed like a graph of families by race, I guess, that aren't as, because America was based on families basically, and some of the races aren't as family based anymore. Is it oriented? And they said because of that has a lot to do with the opioid crisis because our families aren't supporting
having meals together.
Yeah, like going back to tradition. It was things like that. And he said that they still need to do more research on that, but it was just that to me stuck out, and I was like, oh, like you think everybody has that, and not everybody has that. So
that was like a finding that they're like, oh, we need to look into this more.
Yeah,
kind of a thing. Yeah,
because they were saying at the very bottom, which was like the super lowest, that Asian Americans have the most close-knit family background, I guess. And they also have the least people on opioid addiction or misuse or things like that.
That's really interesting.
It is. So we'll learn more about that then this next week. And then Emily, when we were visiting the vendors tables that they had out there with the different resources, we came across another group that it was, I want to say it was two mothers. It was Charlie Song, I think is the name of their organization. And it was two mothers that had lost their sons to an opioid, and they didn't want to say opioid overdose because they weren't someone that typically took pills that weren't prescribed to them.
The intention wasn't to take more.
Right.
Yeah.
And so they call it an opioid poisoning because it was a one-time deal. And
was it counterfeit?
It was counterfeit.
Okay,
so we'll be learning more. One of the moms is going to come on with us, and that'll be, I think, on the August 31st episode that we'll have have them on. And then I know on the 24th, we're going to have Angela with Mind Above Matter that's going to be joining us also. And so we're doing some collaborating with her. I know she and I are both working on a mental health brainstorming committee. And so I'm really, I guess that's another thing I was really glad about is the focus is actually getting more on mental health and how mental health affects so many different things. So I think we're heading in the right direction on a lot of our stuff that we're doing. And then not only, was there anything else on CADCA that you or Erica might like to share on your experience on any of your classes?
I would say seeing some of the youth engaging in the leadership and taking an opportunity with their peers to speak out.
Oh, yeah.
And it was really impressive to have one of the classes actually led and taught by kids, teenagers, maybe the guy on the soccer team or your friend from band. I feel like it makes them way more relatable, and they're a lot more likely to listen to a peer than perhaps an adult that, quote, doesn't know anything.
Right.
Because that's an issue, is that a lot of the drugs or substances are just ever evolving and changing, and they don't know what is in them many times, and they can be toxic, fatal.
Right. That's scary.
I don't mean to interrupt, but we are trying to put together a youth coalition. So if you know any youth,
that's a good segue.
Youth are listening, let us know.
Want some leadership experience?
Yes.
Some what am I trying to say? Community service hour? Volunteer hours.
Yes. Or if you have a family member that was struggling, with substances, and you want to make a change in how it affects your life and those around you, this is a good opportunity to get more details and learn how to be able to make that change.
Right. And there's so many avenues, I guess, to make that change, right? Whether you're somebody who likes to sit with information and really kind of quietly think, or like think about policy and kind of see how like the behind the scenes kind of stuff goes. Or there's people that like to be influencers, and there's all different
there's so many different ways
to affect change in your community, and just kind of depends on where people kind of fall into that.
Random thought, but if any of the youth are trying to get into policy, this would be a great thing to put on their resume, because they could totally get an internship in Washington or something really cool. Just saying, think about it.
It would be, because who are some of the people that work with policy all the time that we're partnering with right now, like American Heart Association, which we'll come back to them again eventually, but I want to stay on this for a second. American Heart Association,
actually on several different ways on them. So we'll be touching on a lot of different things on that. Who else do we have on policy at the moment?
And community activism. What am I trying to say? Like city councils. Any other partnerships?
I don't know why I'm drawing a blank,
too.
but it seems like there is.
A million.
Yeah, there really are. But I will say that on the youth deal also, we had opportunity for youth to be able to go to some of these trainings with us. And I know that one of the other trainings that Ashley and Erica and Jen participated in was the Texas Say What conference. And y'all actually took 2 youth with you on this trip. So y'all want to share a little bit about your Texas Say What events?
Yes. For me, it was also my first in-person training period, but we know that youth are retaining more information from other youth versus hearing it from us. They don't care as much if we're telling them not to vape versus their friends are telling them not to vape. So I loved that this conference was it was all led by youth. And I was like, I felt inspired by these teenagers, and they were leading classes. They were presenting a ton of presentations. They're making change within their communities. They're making policy change.
They were instrumental in the Tobacco 21 as well, to make it, illegal for somebody under the age of 21 to be able to purchase any kind of tobacco products.
Mhm.
So
Something that was cool, they at this conference they had a bunch of teams, and each team created a PSA, just a short little video. They got really creative with it in their educational video against tobacco and nicotine, and they were so creative, they were so funny. There was one based off Mean Girls, so like it was awesome. And it was just really cool to see the PSAs, the TikToks, like just seeing their creativity and trying to make a change was really inspiring.
that is so cool.
Erica, didn't you do a competition? It was recorded, so you can't say no.
What a way to start the opportunity. Be traveling to Florida first and then to the Say What conference there in Austin, where I was talked into or tricked into singing on stage for a Finish the Lyrics competition.
Oh, wow.
She wasn't just
Yeah.
singing, she was dancing too.
Okay. Well, I mean, how can you sing if you don't dance? I mean, that's just part of it.
Was it the Avril Lavigne song? Was that the one that you?
I think so,
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
cool.
I know.
That
I
is
know.
really cool.
Brought me back.
Hey, I mean, those other kids, they didn't know who all the songs were. And 2000s, I've got this.
You got
They
it.
were lucky they had you.
I know. I
Yeah.
need to watch that. Somebody's going to have to show me where to find it.
No,
so.
that's okay. Sure. I don't think the video's available anymore.
Well, that's some of the really fun stuff that we've actually participated in this summer, and we've also done some virtual training still. We've got a lot of that still going on currently. But talking about the teen ambassadors, I guess it's been a little over a year ago. We actually had them on our radio segment. So if you ever go back and listen to any of the old episodes, we visited with some of the teens and some of the things that they were going to be working on. And I was really impressed that during the COVID time, they were really good about, they had little mini conferences. They would do something each month and bring in guest speakers. And it was really interesting to see how empowering these youth really are.
I know.
So we're excited about maybe getting our own youth coalition working and be able to do things like this. Well, I know that we've got a few more minutes. Anything else regarding trainings or anything fun this summer that y'all might have done?
I would just like to further touch on the Austin trip and how the leadership there was so incredible amongst these teens. It was really impressive and stunning to see that some of these have actually graduated to go on and do things in their college, in their community, and to reach out and be just a part of leadership. One of the ladies there that was partnering with youth, and the leadership that she was helping some of these youth get was amazing. It's just the fact that a lot of these youth don't necessarily have the opportunity to have that kind of leadership role or to have the experience, but she was encouraging them to run the leadership, do the agenda meetings. I mean, she would have them pretty much decide on all the dates, all the projects.
Their name.
They were running the show, and for them to get that kind of experience in leadership roles was really priceless.
Well, I know that through CADCA, because we've seen quite a few of the young people that participate in things like the Say What and the coalition trainings where they do get to go to CADCA or mid-year. I mean, they've gone into really policy on a national level. It's not just local or state level. They've actually gone into national policy changes and stuff now.
Her team, VCOT, is actually participating in national changes.
That's amazing.
And they are one of the top in the country as far as making policy changes and just opportunities for volunteering in the community and projects. It's as much as picking up cigarette butts in the park and taking it to their city leaders and saying, look, this is what, smoking in the parks does. It leaves litter and
cigarettes. That's one of the things
Or
that's
the
the most, one of the most, what do you call it? Most litter it turns out to be the cigarette butts is what it is.
And now they were actually saying that after collecting so many vape pens that they're considered biohazards. So they have to be
Wow.
destroyed or disposed of differently than just trash. It
Well,
has to be like sent off and destroyed because of the chemicals.
Well, one of the things that we did learn through our DEA during the DEA take back days, when people dispose of their medications and things like that, they are actually taking the vape. They'll take the vape pens and cartridges. Now they ask that the battery be removed, but they understand that is a hazard and can be dangerous, so they do take those as well. So I thought that was kind of interesting. All right, anything else, ladies? We kind of
On the trainings, not really.
Any good vacations?
No.
Oh, this is a summer catch up.
Oh,
Yeah, I like this.
I know.
All right.
Yeah, all of us getting to be together again for a while.
I'm like, who had free time this summer?
I know.
Not I.
Well, I will say that, when we were at CATCA, we did go to down to Cocoa Beach and, saw the ocean and played in the sand.
That was fun.
That's self-care and therapeutic. So that counts as work.
Yeah, that's mental health work.
Mental health work.
It was
Self-care.
nice.
Do you see alligators?
In the hotel, they actually had a feeding deal where there were alligators in their I don't know if you
Baby
call it pond or what
alligators.
you call it, but
They live
I
there?
guess it's a pond. Yeah,
Yeah.
in the
It's like
middle of the hotel.
Yeah,
Nice.
like an atrium kind of thing. They
Oh,
had
cool.
some water features that had alligators.
yeah,
Small
supposedly really
ones.
secured. That's
Mhm.
what we kept telling ourselves. But we were very careful walking in, in the marshy areas and stuff just to be on the safe side. Saw some
Awesome.
lizards because we went out to the pool area a couple of times and there was a lot of lizards out there. So no alligators, thank goodness.
They didn't make it to the pool.
They didn't make it to the pool.
That's
At least we didn't see them. But that was a lot of fun and very relaxing too. They had the rapid river that we got to float around in, and that was
Whoa,
fun.
that thing just took you.
It took us, but it was fun. I enjoyed that. And then, of course, it rained a couple of times while we were there. It was kind of nice to even see the rain. We haven't seen that in a while here in
Yeah,
Texas.
thankfully, we got rain today. Oh.
Yeah. I hope I got rain at home.
yesterday. Yeah.
Did you get rain yesterday?
Mm-hmm.
See,
Mhm,
it
we did
thundered. We
too.
had the lightning, but we never got rain.
Mm-hmm.
You could smell it in the air. I was so disappointed. Yeah.
Right now, that is incredibly disappointing.
It is. It was very
Yeah.
disappointing. So I'm really hoping that we're getting rain back home today.
Mhm. I don't think I've been on vacation this summer. I'm trying to think. All I can remember is that it was just hot. But the one thing the one thing that I've been doing is like really trying to get tomatoes to grow.
Yeah.
And after yesterday's rain, I think at least one will be ready to
Oh,
eat
that's
like
good.
tomorrow.
Did you
Mhm.
do
That's exciting.
pots or
raised garden
raised
beds?
garden beds?
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
Nice.
Yeah, so I'm excited about that. And apparently, like walking in dirt is really good for mental health. I don't know. Google it.
Yeah, no, I believe
Yeah.
But
because
isn't
they
it like
say
and
working
just
in your
like
gardens and stuff. I know it
touching
helps
dirt
me. Yeah.
and stuff? But apparently, I don't know. Does it have also something to do with minerals in
Nope.
the?
You never know. Could
There
be.
I feel
has
like
minerals.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I feel like I don't know.
I don't know if it absorbs into your skin, but I know.
Fact check me,
I don't,
somebody.
I don't know. I grew up in the hill
Somebody
country,
get on
so
Google.
like
Yeah.
all the minerals went into the well water
Mhm.
Yeah.
where we got it, and then everyone lives a long time there. I'm just saying, 'cause there's a ton of calcium in the water.
Well, that was a quick first half. So
Uh-huh.
y'all please come back and join us again for the second half. We've got some great things that we're going to talk about.
Why have thousands of aspiring authors teamed up with Christian Faith Publishing to publish their book? Because Christian Faith Publishing is an author-friendly publisher who understands that your labor is more than just a book. We provide authors freedom and flexibility throughout the publishing process, professional book editing, award-winning design, and some of the highest royalty structures in the publishing industry. And as always, you will retain 100% of the rights to your book.
I was looking to find a company that I could trust, one that assisted in the editing process completely.
The most important qualities that I was looking for was a publisher publisher who is honest and upfront. No hidden costs or fees, and owning the rights to my own work.
Christian Faith Publishing will publish, market, and sell your books in all major bookstores, online booksellers, as well as specialty Christian bookstores. Call for your free author submission kit.
800-978-4812. 800-978-4812. 800-978-4812. That's 800-978-4812.
Out of deck carpet giving you the blues? Tired of your old dingy and broken tile? Let my friends at the Floor Store in Cleveland, Texas give your home the makeover it deserves. This is old Taco Joe coming to you for the Floor Store. Whether it's carpet, tile, wood flooring, or real wood laminate, the Floor Store can cover all of your flooring needs. Located at 405 West Henderson Street in Cleveland, Texas, owner Brent Harris can help. Shower tile, tub surrounds, even backsplashes. Give them a call today at 817-641-9444. The Floor Store, they've got you covered.
When you're hungry for tender brisket or some delicious homemade cobbler, then look no further than Leach Brothers Barbecue, located at 1106 East Henderson, Cleveland, Texas. Leach Brothers has been family-owned and operated since 1950. Take it from me, Taco Joe Orwinski. Todd and his family have been filling my belly breakfast, lunch, and dinner for a long time. Heck, I even have my own booth, open Monday through Saturday, 6 a.m. to 7 p.m. Come see them for dine-in, carry-out, and all your catering needs.
You're listening to Joco Community Radio.
Well, welcome back to the second half of the Reach Across Johnson County segment on Joco Community Radio. Joco Community Radio is proud to be the voice of Johnson County, Texas, and is live 365 on the TuneIn Radio Network. To listen or watch, simply go to the tuneinjoco.com to choose where and how. And then the Joco Community Radio app is now available for free on Android and Apple devices. Simply search for your store. Check out our lineup and more on jococommunityradio.com. This episode and more is brought to you by Patriot Claims, making your insurance work for you. Reach out to your Texas sales rep, Nona Reed, at 844.tex.hail. That's 844-839-4245. And again, welcome back to the Reach Across Johnson County segment on Joco Community Radio, where I am with my the coalition team, our community team from Reach Across Johnson County. Welcome back, ladies.
Hey.
So we've been talking about some of the various things we've been doing, and we got to talking during break about the back to school events. We've been hitting a lot of back to school events, and I know that Emily and Erica have got one coming up this weekend, right?
Yes, ma'am. It'll be out in Joshua. I believe it starts at 9 and it lasts till 1 at the YMCA there in Joshua.
Oh, that's cool. So they can come by and visit your booth. And I know y'all have the spinning wheel out there, and y'all have got a lot of good mental health prizes,
Yeah.
fidgets, and things like that. That'll be good for the kids, maybe even the adults as well.
Oh, for sure.
I know that
They're also having a trade dates that day at the same time.
Oh, at the same time. Oh, that'll be cool.
So you can do both.
Yeah, I know the fidget sticks and the poppets were really popular at ours, and then that eye popping dude that you could squeeze, he was really popular at a lot of the events that we did. So I wanted to kind of get back to what we were talking about earlier on some of our community partnerships that we've got going, and we're actually collaborating with the American Heart Association on a couple of different things. I know that they've been working really hard in the Burleson area on a advocating for a smoke-free air ordinance, which we highly support that everybody should be able to have the right to breathe clean air when they work. And I know that was one of the things, but we were really excited about one of the other initiatives. I'm going to let you jump in because you've got the really good wordage for that, Jen.
Well, now I probably don't. So
Sorry, on the spot. I should have wrote it down.
Are we talking about, again, the American Heart Association and
Yes.
how they're trying to partner with schools and
Yes.
the great incentives? I only remember one of the incentives that they have. So maybe you can, anybody else can
all
jump in.
Yeah.
But basically, often when schools find vapes on students, and they do what's just very traditional, like you put the kid in school suspension, you give them that consequence, right? Something that isn't we're all used to. It's not like a secret. This is what happens, right? But we're finding that a lot of youth who vape have other underlying reasons for doing this. It's not just like peer pressure, just a rebellious streak. Like they're really truly trying to cope with something.
Right.
And yeah.
And a lot of it based on some of the things they're said. I mean, kids it's how they're dealing with their stress.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think it's really cool that the American Heart Association has come up with basically a curriculum that they're able to provide to our school districts at no charge to them, that includes the possibility of having a counselor come on.
Yeah. So I think it goes beyond that. It's, they sit down and really work with on like what policy, like what are the steps if this happens, what are the steps, like how do we deal with the situation? So they really kind of guide and sort of a wraparound. What am I trying to say? Just like a very thought out,
all inclusive.
I mean, because policy situation,
including education.
Yes,
education, giving the kids some. I mean, if we know that nicotine is a highly addictive substance, and so a lot of times these kids get addicted to it and have difficulty being able to give it up. And so
I mean, addictions. Hello.
Addiction,
like who needs coffee in the morning? Like, like I will not give that up. Okay. So so kind of seeing the kid as like a human. First of all, that needs some help. And then secondly, I think it even just goes beyond education, and it's like therapists or social workers. Like there are some real professionals that kind of specialize in treating some of these issues that a student or a youth then gets to talk to and kind of figure some things out instead of taking them out of the educational setting and getting them used to those like punitive consequences that just kind of become somebody's identity if they keep happening, right? And then all of a sudden it's like, well, I'm just the bad kid, I just get in trouble, but not really addressing some of those underlying reasons. So,
and I think it's really cool that they're willing to build this around what's best for the school and for the students. And so it could look a little different, when you go from district to district, but that they're willing to do that, and that there's funding available, for them to be able to do that now. So, if you happen to work at a school, or you are, in administration at a school district, it would be really good to, I'd say, reach out to us and let us connect you with our contacts at the American Heart Association, that they're members of our coalition, and they advocate for our youth and them helping to make good choices and give them the help that they need when they struggle with things like this.
And there are schools in North Texas who have kind of jumped on board with this, so you will not be alone, right?
Absolutely.
There will not be alone. And I think just a really big focus too on not putting more work on your staff who are already overworked is huge. Also, school staff, we know we have 3 people sitting at the table now from healthcare that have come over to coalition work, and we know that teachers are like healthcare workers, teachers are just having a hard time right now. So nobody wants to put any additional work on counselors or anybody else, and this would just be enhancing and doing what's best for students, hopefully. So
absolutely, because I know that they wanted to work with them, like on making some policy changes on how they look at that, and I know that they've done that in a couple of communities already. So it's not something just totally brand new. I mean, it's already been implemented. I think last year there was a couple of North Texas school districts that may have already implemented.
And are continuing to this year.
Yeah.
And it's based on best practices for sure.
Yeah. And, you've got a big agency or organization like American Heart Association, that's behind this, and they've been doing lots of research and things. So I think this is really amazing. And I'm glad that we're collaborating with them and hoping, to make that connections with our school districts.
Yeah.
Random question.
Mhm.
Was it restricted to just North Texas? I know we live in North Texas.
No, it's
but-
actually all over the
National
country from
campaign,
yeah. So I know that Douglas and Bree, who actually came on the show, and she kind of spoke a little bit about that, to bring awareness that they are trying to do this. And she spoke at our coalition meeting here recently to kind of let everybody know what they're doing. And so the big key right now is getting in front of the right people at the school districts. And so we're hoping, and I know after last year and the whole Uvalde deal, there's going to be a lot more strictures getting into schools this year, because I know that was something that was brought up at the coalition meeting is security is going to be tight, and they're going to kind of limit who can actually get into the schools. So if you happen to be somebody that sits on a school health advisory council or something like that, this would be a great opportunity to bring them in and let them speak to you, to the committee, and maybe present to the school board is an option that's available. You never know. Right now they don't see the funding running out, but you never know. So while it's there, take it.
Use it.
Yeah, take advantage of it. And they're really excited about it. And so I think it'll be a really good program.
It's an amazing opportunity. Yeah,
absolutely.
Do we say something that came up at our coalition meeting while we were having this discussion about almost in a sense the inevitable legalization of marijuana, and how focusing on vaping and really trying to get kids healthier and students healthier. What am I trying to say? Like that, it's like a dress rehearsal for when marijuana is legalized. Yeah. And just how to deal with youth coping with marijuana at school.
Yeah.
So
that was discussed, and it may be on our horizon, before we know it, and we need to be proactive in our stance on that, as far as educating the public. And our main goal is to protect our youth, and I don't think anybody can argue with the fact that marijuana can do harm to a developing brain. And so that's our deal is to provide those protective factors for our youth. And right now, one of the biggest protective factors that we have in Texas is that it is illegal. That's not to say that youth aren't using it, because we know, in fact, that they do. So yeah, we do need to be a bit proactive and kind of think about that. And the American Heart Association, with this program, it kind of puts things in the right steps and all to do that.
Yeah. That's all I had to say about that.
I am.
Go ahead, Emily. I know you're
I'm praying that it doesn't, because I mean the states that have, they're in a mess.
They're in a mess. Yeah.
Their mental health is a mess. Their people are a mess. And though it brings in money for the states, it doesn't do much for the people.
I was actually in one of the training classes that we did at CADCO. It was actually on that. It was Colorado. They had a guest speaker that had come in, and they were talking about, how, it was supposed to bring all this revenue in and things like that, when in fact it's actually costing their state more now than what the revenues are bringing in. And her deal was to have communities that where it's not legalized yet, or where it has just been legalized. We need to not, like I said, be proactive, not just say once it's here, what are we going to do? We need to have plans in place and things like that. And it does seem like that it may be inevitable, that it comes in the future. And we're not telling adults, what they can or cannot do. Again, our focus is on our youth,
and putting the structures in place
to
help them.
Absolutely.
Ahead of time.
There's, we've had guests on the show that, talk about, marijuana can be addictive, and it can change, the chemistry in a brain and everything, especially when it's developing. And we've talked about it could cause that psychosis and paranoia and things like that. And I think what scares me about it, that, legalization of marijuana is becoming a more normalized thing. And so the kids are getting the message that, well, there's nothing wrong with it, that it's going to be okay. And we've seen the things, and we've talked to people that have struggled with a marijuana addiction and some of the things that they deal with. So, I mean, we see that, but not everybody sees that side of it like we do.
Yeah.
And so I don't know always what's the best way to handle that situation. But
yeah. And I'd say I grew up until my sophomore year of of high school, until my parents moved us away. But I grew up right next to the border, where kids were constantly getting marijuana, and it's not the stuff now, THC,
yeah,
that is even more potent. It's was just the regular that they would get from the border gangs or just whoever. And I think majority of our school, there was like a small percentage of them that would constantly get drugs, marijuana, all those things. But majority of our school didn't, because all we had to do was watch them. And they were, I mean, a mess just keeps coming to my brain, but it was beyond that. It was, it turned into, because some of them I was in, like, they were in my grade, and some of them are in jail now for abuse, mental health issues. Some of them have died because they decided to go into other things. So it's just, there's a lot of issues that just stem from that. And that's because they're just, like you said, mental health. They don't know how to handle things.
Right. So they turn
Yeah.
to substances.
That's a really unfortunate thing that I keep hearing about the usage of marijuana and the vape pens. Are so many youth, young adults, like when I was in college, when I was in high school, when I was in middle school, there was the same thing. They were using to cope with their stress. They were using because they felt depressed or anxious. And then now, and I'm sure professionals then knew, but working in this field, I've learned that we all know that that's worsening those symptoms.
Right.
So I hate that, because those kids think that it's helping when in fact it's
making it worse.
It's making it worse. Yeah.
One of the other things that in one of the trainings that I did, they talk about, how marijuana is all natural and all that, all that talk that we hear about, well, it's natural. Well, one of the things that they brought out is the marijuana and the THC that we're seeing now, this is not natural. This is all synthetic, and it's, a chemically made product now. And so when these kids are thinking, well, this is natural, that there's nothing wrong with it, I mean, you don't necessarily know what you're putting into your body. So that's really scary.
And what it can be laced with.
What it can be. Yeah, absolutely. Well, I don't know, I guess we might go ahead and segue into the other, because I mean, we're always talking about mental health and things like that. And we are actually collaborating with another organization and to do a mental health conference. So I'm going to let Ashley and Emily, start talking about that, because y'all have got a big focus on it.
Yeah. So we are partnering with Sarah Nicole Yoga to put on a mental health conference. It's called Rise the Mental Health Conference, and it will be held at Pathway Church here in Burleson on October 8th from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. The really exciting thing about this conference is that it is completely free. That's just awesome, because if you go to any conference, usually you pay something. So we're going to have some really awesome sanctuary session speakers. Dr. Coyer, who we've had on the show, who wrote the Neuro Whereabouts Guide, all about studies on the brain. We're having a licensed professional counselor, several other mental health advocates who have dealt with mental health in their life and then how they overcame it. So we'll be hearing professionals, we'll be hearing testimonies, and then we will also have breakout sessions where you can kind of have some tangible, like, how can I practically cope, from art therapy to the Enneagram to a self-love cycle. Dr. Coyer will be having breakout sessions as well. We'll be having a ton of resources, just a ton of vendor tables. We will also be providing a build your own toolkit where we give you a cute little bag. Who doesn't want a free bag and a shirt? And you get to pick 3 stress relieving items that we will be providing. So you should come. If you want to sign up, you can find the link on our Facebook page, or you can look up Rise the Mental Health Conference on Facebook as well, and all the information is there. And we are really excited.
We are excited. And I know that we'll be doing a lot more promoting of the conference and maybe putting little spills out on some of our guest speakers and things like that. Some of the items that they, like I said, they're getting some really nice stuff at a free
we're having
event.
big giveaway items too.
So it's going to, I think it's going to be a lot of fun.
It's going to be fun.
And just learning how to cope.
Yes. I've been telling people, like, if you struggle with any mental health disorder, this is for you. If you know someone that has struggled with a mental health disorder, this is for you, so you can know how to like compassionately treat those around you who struggle. But even if you're just struggling with day-to-day stress, which literally aren't we all, and we all go through times feeling overwhelmed and stressed, this is for you. We will help you learn how to cope. So it's literally for anyone. And we know that mental health really matters.
Yeah. And, a lot of times people, I don't know, that there's a stigma around when you talk about mental health, but, to a certain degree, we've all been there at some point, whether we've struggled with anxiety or depression. You get people that have suicidal thoughts and things like that. And, just being able to go and learn what, other people, knowing sometimes that you're not the only one that's going through this can be huge. And so, and being able to have tools that, that you'll be equipped with when you leave, that can help you deal with some of the things. And like I said, we have a lot of resource lists in there on so many things that they'll be able to use.
Sure.
And I know Emily and Ashley have been working really hard on getting this all put together. So
I
kudos,
just wanted
ladies.
to include another thing.
Okay.
If we need some vendors, and if you'd like to participate,
oh yeah,
we would love for you to come. So it is mental health related, but we can get as creative as we want with that statement. So if y'all
tell them how you want them to reach out to you if they're interested in doing that.
So you can reach out to myself or to Ashley. My email is Emily, regular spelling, EMILY .Stufflebean.
That's the hard part.
Yeah, this is the hard part. STUFFLEBEAN at reachcouncil.org.
Okay, awesome. And Ashley, go ahead and share yours too.
Yes, okay. My email is Ashley, usual spelled ASHLEY, period, Vasquez, VASQUEZ at reachcouncil.com.
Awesome. Oh, .org.
.org. Thank you.
Well, and if all else, you can always go to our Facebook page and messages, because we get messages through our Facebook page quite often. So feel free to do that. Anything else on the mental health conference that y'all want to touch on before I wanted to touch on something else that Emily mentioned earlier on the mental health on one of the projects that y'all are actually working on, because I'm excited about that as well. The stress kits that y'all are actually making for our law enforcement in the area.
Yeah, we're doing that.
Get closer to Emily's got to get closer to the mic so we can hear she talks.
We're
so
doing
soft.
that.
This is full of.
Yes. They're really cool looking stuff too.
We are making police stress kits for the police officers because, a lot's happened, but they're not the only ones who are feeling stressed, but we wanted to help them out and start focusing on them. So we're making boxes, and I hope they like them.
Well, last year we actually focused on our school counselors, and I think that's where the talk might have come from, is because we talked about that, and somebody happened to mention, I think it might have even been one of our law enforcement that was saying, that they deal with stress on a daily basis, and so we started thinking, well, what kind of things would you like to see, to help you with your stress relief? And that's kind of how this all, started coming about.
Yeah.
So.
And then next, I can't say exactly, but within this coming year, we're partnering with the Center for ASD to make some stress kits for the firefighters and the EMTs as well.
So they're first responders.
Yes.
Yeah.
That is so amazing. Because we recognize that a lot of people, deal with stress, but they really deal with stress on a daily basis. More trauma. Yeah. I can't imagine the stuff that they go through. Well, I know that we're winding down into the last few minutes. Just a reminder to tune in next week as we've got, remind me, Dr. Keith Humphrey, yes, that's going to be joining us to talk about the opioid crisis and some of the things that they've looked at on their studies and what we can do maybe to make some improvements in our communities. And then we've got Mind Above Matter that's going to be joining us, talk about the amazing resources they have available to our community members and also to our schools that they offer great opportunities there as well. And then Charlie's Choice. Is that what? No, Charlie's Song. Charlie's Song. So we'll have them that's going to be joining us. So that's really 3 good shows that are going to be coming up. I'm excited about those. And
one more thing about the mental health conference, I totally forgot. There's also a virtual option if you were unable to attend. So that, I was like, people need to know that. Yes.
Well, you were talking about earlier some of the different things I heard today that there's going to be a song list that you're able to, I guess, go through a QR code to download the songs.
Uplifting, inspiring music, because music is some people's therapy as well. So we wanted to provide a resource for that.
Do we get a playlist?
Yes.
Yeah,
that's great.
Yeah, they were talking about that is so exciting. And then I know that you had some things that we talked about the app, Calm. You said that there's like one of the kits or something.
One of the items on our toolkit table will be, it's called a calming puzzle, but it also comes with a 30-day free trial of the Calm app.
And see, I use the Calm app. I mean, I don't have the paid subscription for it because they've got a lot of really cool stuff that's absolutely free on the app. And I love trying to wind down to I love the sound of thunderstorms. And so I listen to that one quite often. That and the sound of the little river, the river running and
waves.
And then the waves from the ocean. Yes. Yeah, they have a lot of really cool stuff. So again, if you struggle with any kind of, mental problems, anxiety, depression, or just stress, day-to-day stress and everything, would like to have some help. Or if you have kids, I think we've talked about this. It's, if you have a child that struggles and you're not sure what to do, we're going to have resources and tips on that as well.
Yes, come receive some education on just awareness regarding youth and mental health and how you can help your child.
There's also something called compassion fatigue. I know we only have a few seconds.
So you have time. Go ahead.
I was just going to say that I think it's wonderful that people are recognizing the burnout that some of these people are experiencing, but not just burnout. Those that help take care of others are often experiencing compassion fatigue, which is similar to symptoms in burnout, but it's quite literally giving to the point of exhaustion. And I love that there's going to be so many resources here, and that I hope that, our firefighters, EMTs, police, law enforcement, families, as well as them themselves, but also teachers, nurses. So many people have suffered with healthcare issues,
absolutely,
or mental health issues recently.
We'll go in and register for the conference. And thank you all for joining us this evening on Reach Across Johnson County on JoCo Community Radio.
Have a good night.
From Burleson to Venus and Grandview to Godley, this is the voice of Johnson County, JoCo Community Radio.
Here's important new information from the Diabetes Solution Center.